There's a lot of fear here at the moment. Fear of the Taliban taking over, fear of civil war. I was talking to a diplomat the other day who said the Americans have got an exit plan, but they haven't got a transition plan. So what that means is that diplomats are leaving, wealthy Afghans are leaving, because officials are saying that although the Americans said that September the 11th, that symbolic date, would be their deadline, in fact, they're expected all to be out, all of their troops out, by the middle of July. So into the vacuum step the Taliban, fighting in many different provinces, and in places government forces are just surrendering. And so what the authorities here are doing, they're sending into the battle ever more raw recruits. The poor bloody infantry, young men who will soon be out in the desperate vastness of Afghanistan, battling the monstrous anger of the Taliban's guns. Already there's fighting in 1/3 of districts. New recruits know that their enemy is emboldened, surrounding major cities including Kabul. And soon the Americans will no longer ride to their rescue with air support. These are the men facing the Taliban. American soldiers haven't been on the front line for several years. But their rapid and complete withdrawal has a psychological impact. The Afghan National Army feels it's been abandoned by the US and by NATO. And the Taliban, they think they've won. They've driven out the infidels. In Ghazni province, southwest of Kabul, the Taliban control most villages, while the government holds urban centres. They parade for the camera. A motorcycle gang with national aspirations. Taliban leaders got what they wanted from negotiations with the Americans and are now stalling on new talks with the Afghan government. They want to gain more territory first. Afghanistan's chief negotiator not only has to deal with a Taliban who won't talk seriously, but with foreign governments withdrawing diplomats, a sign that they're losing confidence that the centre will hold. The West is abandoning you, is divorcing you, so you have no choice but to marry the Taliban.
Can we still live a single life? Or the point is that there are a few things that we need to do here, like taking care of the unity within the Islamic Republic to present a unified front in support of peace, and God forbid, if war was imposed upon us, to be unified in defending the country.
Where can you compromise to do a deal with the Taliban so there is no war?
The future of the country based on one person, one vote is critical. Without it, we cannot have, we could have something to get there, power sharing, you call it transitional or whatever, but that will not be a permanent solution. A permanent solution will be when the people enjoy their rights.
Not that Afghans enjoy many rights in the villages on the outskirts of Kabul, where many have moved in recent years, fleeing insecurity, drought and poverty in the provinces. Here in Kochiabad, the aid agency UNICEF has provided a much-needed source of water. But families still don't send their girls to school for fear they'll be kidnapped on the 3-hour walk. The more insecure the country gets, the more difficult it will be to implement development projects. Many fear a future without foreign forces.
اندېښنه خو ټولو سره شته دی مثلا تقریبا دغه زموږ د پلرونو او د نیکونو د وختونه ناامني ده دغه 28 کاله زموږ دغه دی وشو چې همدغه جنګ روان دی نو که هغه یوځي خامخا ناامني خو رامنځته کېږي یو ګډوډي به راځي ترمنځه خو زموږ ملک دی ناست به نو کوم خوا خو تللی نه شو ترنه که حالات ښه وي که خراب وي په خپل ملک به پاتې یو.
US military equipment is being reduced to scrap, along with the ideals of women's rights and democracy they once sought to impose. Other NATO forces, including the few remaining British troops, are scrambling to keep up with the American rush to get out, irrespective of instability and the strength of the Taliban.
After the withdrawal announcement by President Biden, one of the other things that now they keep thinking, and they keep giving message to their foot soldiers, is that they will win through military and they can control the whole power, which I know that this is not going to result stability, because if Taliban try to pursue their military strategy and gain power through that and come to Kabul, and the world will just watch and sit, I think that will actually pave the way for another civil war, I would say.
Counter-terrorism training. So far this year, there have been 3,500 Taliban attacks, and there will be more. Afghanistan's fate now lies with its people and its neighbours. The best hope is that Pakistan, which still sponsors the Taliban, will tell them to stop fighting and start talking again. The post-9/11 era of America's war on terror is over. It's ending where it began, in the sands of Afghanistan. Now, the Taliban has promised the Americans that they won't allow al-Qaeda to attack the US again. And that's likely to stick. After all, remember what happened last time. They don't want to risk that. And I don't think that the Taliban's going to march straight into Kabul. But places like Lashkar, remember Lashkar? That's where the British were garrisoned, where a lot of British blood and treasure, as we say, was spent. Well, the Taliban's been besieging that, and it controls all of the area of Helmand around. It's highly likely that they're going to take pretty much all of the south of the country. And then the other danger is that militia groups and warlords, they're going to start fighting the Taliban and fighting the government, who they feel is failing to protect them. So that's the danger that we have here. The Americans have been here for 2 decades. They say this is an end to their forever wars. Well, in Afghanistan, there's been war for 40 years. And at the moment, there's no end to conflict in sight.